friends, today we are talking about the books that everybody should read at least once in their lifetime. There are all different genres in here, so there's something for everybody. These books have truly gave me a new perspective about life. I have learned so much about myself as well as others. And starting off with The Women by Kristin Hannah left me speechless. This is a historical fiction that is about the women that served in the Vietnam War and that were forgotten. There were actually so many women that served in the Vietnam War, but nobody knew about it. That is why this story is so important, because it tells the story of those women who did sacrifice to save their country. But let me tell you guys, I've never cried more in my life. I marked every time I cried, and I think I counted like 16 times. So this book definitely gets an award for me crying the most, highlighting friendship, patriotism. This book was just a 10 out of 10. Okay, next we have Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom, which also left me crying my eyes out, which there will be a theme here with these books. Such important stories, and that's why I'm crying so much. He is also one of my favorite authors. I've read about 10, 11 of his books now. Every single one of them is incredible. This is a standout for sure, but this is actually a true story. It follows the author reconnecting with his old professor that he had in school, but his professor is dying. This will remind you of the actual important things in life and how one of the most important things is to intentionally love those around you. This is a true story, but I also would recommend this as like a self-help book. Lessons of love that you will experience through this is unlike no other. Some of my favorite quotes from all time come from this book. It is one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. Next is Conversations on Love by Natasha Lund. This is also one of my favorite books. I would explain this as like a self-help book, but also per the title, everything to do with love. And that is not just romantic love. It has to do with friendship and platonic love and parenthood and loss and grief. Author goes around and interviews experts about everything of how to find love, how to keep love, how do we survive when we lose it. I read this about maybe a year and a half ago, and I still remember the exact moment I read it. I was on a plane coming back from Europe, and I was bawling my eyes out because this book healed me in ways that I didn't even know that I needed. And I know for a fact that there are so many lessons in here that would hit home for a lot of people. So next is The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah, which is the first author that I talked about that wrote The Women. She is one of my favorite authors, and this is one of my favorite books ever. This is top 3, if not top 2. This is a historical fiction that takes place during World War II. It follows 2 sisters that are basically on their own path to survival. They live in France, but it is occupied by the Germans. So it follows the sisters individually when they come together. I could see so much of myself and so much of my sister in these 2 sisters that it was just such an emotional read. Her writing is actually incredible. You are in the story, you are there with the sisters. It feels like you are walking with these characters. This will always be one of my favorite books. She will always be one of my favorite authors. She sent the 10th anniversary edition and signed it, and I just love her so much. Okay, next is The Book You Want Everyone You Love to Read and the Few That You Don't by Philippa Perry. This is a self-help book that really focuses on approaching life's biggest problems, which tend to be about the connection you have with others, whether it's family, romantic partners, friendships, and most importantly, yourself. This book really lays it out for you and helps you really easily be able to see and navigate these different connections. Literally tabbed pretty much every page because every page had such important information. It covers how to find and keep love. It covers how to deal with conflict, how to cope with changes in your life and loss. And it was so important to read, and I learned so much about myself. P.S. I also cried during this one. So next is The Escape Artist by Jonathan Friedland. This book was rough, okay? Incredibly well written, incredibly important story, but rough because it was a true story and it was incredibly difficult to face. But this is the true story about the man that broke out of Auschwitz to tell the world what was happening in these concentration camps. I have read so many stories about Auschwitz because it is the one event in history that has perplexed my mind so much that I can't fathom the fact that this actually happened in real life. This one just very much stuck with me. I actually had to close the book, take a break, because it is so descriptive. It's definitely one of the most incredible true stories I've ever read. Okay, next is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins and Sawyer Robbins. They sent me this lovely book with some nice notes in it. I read it, and incredible, as you can tell from all my tabs. This is like a self-help book that's very much aimed for people who really struggle to put their power in other people's hands. This book is all about taking your power back with the 2 words, let them, which will really help you release everything and anything that is not meant to be in your life. Every single person, no matter what age you are, should read this. I am 26 now, but I wish I could have read this when I was 19, 20, because everything in here is something that I live now, but when I was younger, I wish I could have heard these words. It's such an incredible book, so much wisdom in here. Definitely a book that everybody should read, and I will never stop recommending. Next, I have Finding Chica by Mitch Albom, which is the author of Tuesdays with Morrie. He is incredible. This is very, very beautiful but heartbreaking story. Another true story about the author and his family adopting a Haitian orphan named Chica who happened to be terminally ill. This is them right there. She is such a beautiful girl. It is definitely one of his most vulnerable stories because this is a true story that impacted him and his family. It is one that I'm so blessed that he shared with the world. I was very emotional reading this, and I still get emotional now thinking about this, but very raw and real beautiful story about family and love. Family goes so far beyond blood. Was one of the most beautiful stories I've ever read. Okay, next is The Art of Loving by Erich Fromm. This is a psychology and philosophy book. It explores all of the aspects of love, its conceptions, its expectations. It really deep dives into how it is a skill and like the complexities of it. Such an informative read. I feel like the viewpoint that this book gives is very necessary, especially for those who very much want to create like deep, purposeful connections with others and themselves. This is the book for you. Last is Beneath the Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. This book is based on a true story of a forgotten hero. It took place during World War II, and it follows a boy named Pino who basically helped Jews escape getting captured by the Germans by using this underground railroad. He ended up saving so many lives. Then he is recruited to be this personal driver of one of the most powerful commanders in Italy at the time. He is working for the German High Command, but he is also spying for his allies. He falls in love with this woman named Anna. I ripped the last page out of the book. It's been on my wall ever since I first started reading, like 2 years ago. There were a lot of tears shed when I finished this. Anyway, those are all the books for today, you guys. I hope you guys get to reading all of these and enjoy them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.